Okay, well, we'll see what happened. Let's go.
Mr. Prosecutor?
Judge, I say this with all sincerity in response to Mr. Reagan, but how does the defendant not know about this? The defendant was caught on surveillance footage, arming himself with a handgun, pointing it at individuals. He has one of those people that he ended up pointing that firearm at, ID him. The other individual that he came downtown with that day in that car ended up identifying him as the individual in the camera footage that showed him committing this offense. I mean, he was just buying himself time here. It's just very disingenuous when somebody can attempt to try to advocate. He didn't know what was going on.
Welcome to What Had Happened Was.
When we take a peek into actual court cases and give you commentary based on our unique perspective and experiences, and also give you informational tips and tricks to help you avoid a what had happened situation.
Before we get started, give us a thumbs up, a tasteful comment. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of every video as they come out. All defendants are considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
I'm not sure it happened that way, Judge. Like the write-up says. I'm just not sure it happened that way.
Can you state your name, sir?
Darrell Dantzler.
Dantzler, okay.
Calling case number 2305818801. The people of the state of Michigan versus Darrell Dantzler. The defendant is charged with count 1 and 2, robbery, armed, habitual offender, third offense notice.
You see how from the very beginning they already mentioned this person is a habitual offender.
Because he's into the system.
They want to know. They want you to know he's already in the system. So from the very, I mean, we know it's a matter of record and you can look it up, but they want you to know from the very beginning so that you already have it in the forefront of your mind. This person has been convicted of a crime before.
Yes, that's our system.
This is the date and time set for a boundary determination. Appearances, please.
Judge, good morning. Steve Benson for the people.
Philip Reagan on behalf of Mr. Dantzler, Your Honor.
Is this not a custody warrant, or is what is 75,000, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
It's not in custody. Didn't know anything about this, Judge.
Okay. Argument.
Judge, my client, he's 33. He tells me he didn't know anything about this. This allegedly happened back in July of last year. Was arrested. He works every day, Judge, has 3 kids, lives in the Metro Detroit area.
Oh, no, I'm from Flint. They had
okay, you live in Flint now, but it lives in the Michigan area. Let me just say Michigan area, Judge. Flint about an hour away.
Isn't Michigan the state that they're in? Okay, because he said the area, then he said he's not from there, and then the public defender is just like the Michigan area. Well, isn't that the state that the court is located in, no matter which district?
Last time I checked, yes, that's why they're there in court, because that's courts in the state of Michigan. Yes, it is. I'm from here. Okay. Well, what do you want from him? The client, he said his client doesn't even remember this happening. He doesn't remember the incident. He doesn't remember it. So why would his lawyer not remember where he's at? Where's he stayed?
He's from, yes.
Detroit area, Flint. What's going on?
So he doesn't know anything about this, Judge. So I mean, he works every day, like I said. This was a situation that happened last summer. It seems like downtown somewhere. Somebody ran up, pointed a handgun, and robbed individuals. And I think they're trying to tie some circumstantial things in the Judge and put Mr. Dantzler as one of the individuals that was there. He denies it. He says he wasn't. I'm asking for reduction. His bond is $75,000 cash or surety. Obviously, Judge, this is going to have to play itself out, through the process. But Mr. Dantzler says, he wasn't him. Now, does he have a prior? Absolutely. Mr. Vincent is going to bring that up. back from 2014. He had a carjacking prior. You know, but that's a prior. He's done with that, dealt with that. He's working every day now, supporting his family, doing the right thing. I'm asking for a reduction, respectfully, bro.
Mr. Prosecutor?
Judge, I say this with all sincerity in response to Mr. Reagan, but how does the defendant not know about this? The defendant was caught on surveillance footage, arming himself with a handgun, pointing it at individuals. He has one of those people that he ended up pointing that firearm at ID him. The other individual that he came downtown with that day in that car ended up identifying him as the individual in the camera footage that showed him committing this offense. I mean, you know, he was just buying himself time here. It's just very disingenuous when somebody can attempt to try to advocate. He didn't know what was going on. I mean, we have witnesses who have ID'd him. We have camera footage that is ID'd him. The individual that he came down there with ID'd him as the person in the camera footage.
Wow. This is the DA's what had happened was moment, because the DA's like, they got it on video. They saw him pull out they got him on video before getting the gun. They got him on video doing this. They got him on video doing that. The person who he was allegedly in the car with identified him.
Yes, he identified him.
So everybody knows that it happened except him.
Well, he said he doesn't know what's going on.
He said it was he doesn't know what's going on.
That's what he said. Well,
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what happened.
Let's find out what happened was.
And then we have the allegations of this. And this happened, Judge. This happened what? About 3.5, 4 blocks away from where we're at right now? Literally 3.5 or 4 blocks. And this individual just got out of prison or parole for the carjacking with a felony with a firearm, weapons felony firearm, about 1.5 years ago. And then, Judge, he's been very fortunate in the last 1.5 years since he's got off of parole, because what I counted was he's had a child abuse, domestic violence, unarmed robbery, resisting and assaulting, and potentially a carjacking, cases that were all dismissed, but charges were apparently brought.
So why are we bringing all this up?
Because it's the prosecutor's job to bring his bad acts out to make that the mitigating circumstances to why you do not give him a bond, do not let this man back out in the street. So
the DA's job is to throw the mud on you.
Yes.
And the defendant's job is to try to wipe as much off of it as possible.
As much as possible, yes.
And see if you don't get out too dirty.
And then whatever happens is what you get.
Or at least a warrant was issued. So, I mean, Judge, this is one of those, if it looks like a duck and it smells like a duck, there's a high likelihood of conviction.
How did we get past it is a duck part? I'm lost there. I thought if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it is a duck. How we get conviction? I'm a little lost. It's just different here with the Midwestern thing, because I don't get this.
Well, you said it, Wild Midwest.
Wild Midwest. Wild Midwest.
Whether or not Mr. Reagan's going to stand before this court and say, and this is with all due respect, that he didn't know about this and they got the wrong person. Well, maybe the witness got it wrong then, and the camera footage got it wrong, and the individual that ended up coming down with this defendant the day that he decided to rob 2 people down in the city of Detroit, maybe they all got it wrong. I mean, stranger things happen, but.
So all of that is allegedly.
Yes.
Because there's
stranger
no guarantee.
Things have happened.
Stranger things have happened because there's no, unless they can absolutely guarantee that was him, they would have to pinpoint him to the moment.
Yes.
And I'm sure Mr. Reagan is going to do everything in his power to have all that thoroughly investigated.
Yes, he has his whole ready to sling all that mud off of him.
Right.
Get his client out from behind these bars with a decent bond. Let's see how this goes.
That's not working in the defendant's favor all that long.
What I think.
And guess what else is not working in the defendant's favor? That little raising of the hand thing.
That's true. That's true. I don't know why he
because it just calls too much attention. The defender, Mr. Reagan, is trying to take as much attention away
That's
from
why
him.
it says you have a right to remain silent.
And the DA is like shining a brighter and brighter light, and he's trying to roll down a whole list of things that he can say about this guy.
Yes.
And the defender's trying to cut
much.
the list off, and then he's raising his hand in the middle
and that's
of it.
why, again, here's a good lawyer. That's why your lawyer is your mouthpiece. They're supposed to speak for you. And you know what else? Because he doesn't want to say certain things that can incriminate him.
But he's not realizing that he's not there to talk. He's just there to be there because he's physically required to be there.
Right.
And so that they can show that he's who he
because this is a bond
he's who they're saying
hearing.
there is.
Yes.
He's not supposed to say anything because
no. Let Mr. Reagan bring up what he has to bring up in the elements of the case. Let him defend those elements or defend what could be going on.
Anything he says, the DA is going to
use against him.
And the DA can sit there and say, because now they can go back and forth, and now he can technically also be in contempt, depending on what he says too.
Exactly, that is so true.
Mr. Vincent, is that the way I took what Mr. Reagan was saying when he said that Mr. Dancer didn't know about it, I was assuming that he was talking about the arrest warrant that was out for him or the warrant.
Oh, but Judge, he said, no, that's the wrong guy. They said they got the wrong guy. That's what he said. So I apologize, Judge. I was putting both of those together. But this isn't the wrong guy. This is the right guy. And there's just too much working against him right now. So he's a danger. He's previously got convicted of this. Now he's being charged with this. The evidence is pretty substantial here, Judge. To protect the community, I'm asking Your Honor to continue this. Okay, you know, if Mr. Reagan's so confident about maybe it might be dismissed, but right now we have an individual who's willing to testify. We have camera footage. Actually, we don't even need the individual because we have camera footage right now.
And guess what else is not working in the defendant's favor?
That
little raising of the hand thing.
That's true. That's true. I don't know why he
because it just calls too much attention. The defender, Mr. Reagan, is trying to take as much attention away from him.
It says you have a right to remain silent.
And the DA is like shining a brighter and brighter light, and he's trying to roll down a whole list of things that he can say about this guy.
Yes.
And the defender's trying to cut the list off, and then he's raising his hand in the middle.
And that's why, again, here's a good lawyer. That's why your lawyer is your mouthpiece. They're supposed to speak for you. And you know what else? Because he doesn't want to say certain things that can incriminate him.
But he's not realizing that he's not there to talk. He's just there to be there because he's physically required to be there.
Right.
And so that they can show that he's who he
because this is a bond
he's who they're saying
hearing.
there is.
Yes.
He's not supposed to say anything because
no. Let Mr. Reagan bring up what he has to bring up in the elements of the case. Let him defend those elements or defend what could be going on.
Anything he says, the DA is going to use against him. And the DA can sit there and say, because now they can go back and forth, and now he can technically also be in contempt, depending on what he says too.
Exactly, that is so true.
Mr.
Reagan, let me just briefly respond. So you know, there is a word and that we use quite often. It's called misidentification. And a lot of times that at least things I've experienced in the past in cases, people misidentify people. And camera footage is not always as clear as it needs to be. And I'm not saying that Mr. Dancer wasn't in the downtown area.
Number one, he did say he wasn't in the downtown area.
He
said he wasn't there. Number two, yes, misidentification is a thing.
That is
Anybody can say this guy had two eyes, a nose, and a mouth, and he looked like he could talk.
Yes, and that had to be him.
This must be it, maybe.
And I'm also saying that he might not have been in a beef with somebody who had a axe to grind to actually say he was there and did something that he didn't do. I also want to point out that Mr. Vincent did talk about 5 or 6 or 7 cases that my client was arrested for, but we're all dismissed.
Right. He could have had a lot of wrong place, wrong time events.
Yes.
Because when they're looking for somebody, everybody gets it.
It's a fact that some people might not be aware of. Even if your case is dismissed, it goes on what's called your record of convictions. So you can get arrested 100 times, and they're all dismissed. You're still going to have a record that says record of convictions. You have a case, the date, when it happened, elements, all of it, and it says dismissed. But it's still there.
It's like an ugly resume.
Yes, basically.
The ugly resume.
I wonder why, because maybe he wasn't the person that did it. Maybe it wasn't him. So, maybe this is another situation where they want to charge him with something that he didn't do and dismiss it because he fits the bill, because he has a prior. I don't know. Obviously, it's going to have to be played out. But again, he's innocent to prove guilty, and there's all type of situations and scenarios that can be brought up. We're at an early stage right now. We're not at the conviction stage or the sentencing or the trial. We're at the bond redetermination hearing. Now, I get what the court's position is, but also, Judge, I like when Mr. Vincent says there are all these charges that were dismissed. That shows me that they like to pick on Mr. Dancer. They pick on him.
And he's absolutely right with that. Because if they keep looking for him, picking him up and putting him in, it's not him, and picking him up and putting him in, they keep hoping, well, guess what? If you keep throwing something to the wall, eventually it will stick.
I'll say it before, I'll say it again. So these public defenders have been getting a bad rap. This is a great public defender. If Lord forbid, if I had something going,
I don't even want to think about that, but I know who I would want.
But
I would not want him as a spades partner.
No,
because his
maybe
a possible. I got a possible there, possible 3. No,
don't bluff with this guy.
So he's good with this.
He is very good, very good. He's phenomenal.
And charge him with stuff, but can't follow through with it. Just like this case, Judge, same thing. Could be this case. So I'm asking the court judge to reduce it, put a tether on, put a house arrest on. I just don't think he needs to be incarcerated for this, Judge, right now while he's awaiting trial that may or may not happen, Judge. I'm just asking for a reduction.
Can I mention something that the prosecutor said?
I would probably not.
I probably wouldn't. I don't know if it'll help. I don't want you to hurt. I don't want you to say anything that may hurt.
He still raised his hand.
Again, not very politely, he said, shut up and don't say anything.
Stop it. Can we get him outside? He's like, can we get you outside in your regular clothes, outside somewhere in an office where I am and you are, and we can talk privately,
off the record,
where someone's not typing in what you're saying, what he's saying, what I'm saying, what everyone is saying, where they can read it back and say, you said this.
Court of law.
I don't think it would be a good idea,
Court haven't heard the arguments of counsel. Court finds a $75,000 cash bond is an unaffordable bond. Court finds that in order to have an unaffordable bond, there has to be a showing that the defendant is a danger to the community or the complaining witness. The allegations contained in the charges actually are inherently dangerous to the community. An armed robbery. I think this was in Greektown or somewhere, right in the city of Detroit. And there are witnesses, there are videos. With that being said, this case will have to play itself out. Court is going to reduce the bond. Court's going to reduce the bond to $25,000 cash, with a GPS tether, house arrest. He can only leave for medical appointments and court appearances only. Thank you.
So now he divided. His
repeat and rinse worked.
Is cut by a third.
Yeah.
Because 75,000 to 25,000.
Yeah, that's good.
Which is with a 10%, $2,500. Because I don't know.
And he's under house arrest.
He can only go out for medical appointments
or court. That's it.
So we'll see.
We'll see.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you for hearing me out, Judge.
Thank you, Judge, and I apologize. I appreciate the court listening to me, Judge, because sometimes it bothers me when they say it's a lot of video, a lot of identification, and this is July. Go get them. If it's an identification and you know who it is and you know where, go get them. But they don't have that, Judge. And I thank the court, Judge. I thank the court.
He's absolutely correct.
Yep.
So if you have video evidence and you show that this person at this time because we are way ahead of technology before, as opposed to what they used to have in the police department, sketch artists.
Yes.
They were like, okay, was his nose like this?
Mm-hmm.
Was his eye like this? And we're like, no, his eye was a little bit big on that side. And what kind of shirt do you have on? Well, he had on a blue shirt, but it wasn't like a real blue. You know, they have video. There's cameras everywhere now.
Yeah, and
so like he said, if
you come in with your phone, hey, this is the guy. This is the guy right here.
People record people doing stuff all the time,
All
or maybe
the time.
You could have happened to be taking a picture and you saw somebody run by or whatever, and now that was the person that committed the crime or whatever, because everybody has a phone.
Nope.
Everybody has a phone.
Yep. That's true.
So
I get it.
So he's like, if you have him on video, why didn't you bring him in? Because they will show you, is this you or whatever? Because that's what they use nowadays in the supermarkets and things like that. They use video evidence.
Yes, they do.
And they
roll back the tape. Let's see.
They roll back the tape and they say,
what happened.
This is this person on this day or whatever.
You are saying, Mr. Dantzler. You are set, Mr. Dantzler.
Okay, so
Thank you.
Can I write it down?
Your bond is $25,000 to get out.
Cash.
Reduced from 75.
Thanks for watching.
And also give us a thumbs up, like, comment, share. Subscribe to the channel and you'll be notified of every video as they come up. And get that algorithm going and help us build this channel in 2024.
And make sure that you don't wind up in a what happened situation. Boom, boom, boom.